Happy Black History Month and welcome back to the Rising Podcast. I'm joined here with Kabria and Cayman.
What it is?
What's going on? How y'all feeling tonight?
Tonight.
How you
I'm
feeling?
feeling good.
Oh,
kind of
okay.
cold walking up here, but
Cayman, why your apartment complex got 4 guest parking spots?
only 4.
I circled around this whole about 4-5 times. I had to park on the street.
I guess you probably just didn't see it. There's a lot of them that say guest parking.
They said guest parking. They had a car on top of it though. It's like, I don't know what you wanted me to do.
Was already parked.
There was a guest already parked. I feel like half of them aren't even
we had
guests.
to do it though. That shit was kind of cold. But I mean,
I appreciate you guys for walking though. You know,
you see what I got on.
I wasn't gonna pick y'all up, but hey.
oh,
Cap.
hey.
He said he was gonna pick us up, so you gonna drop us off?
No.
Ooh, okay. We're not doing that.
Nope.
All right, cool. All right,
Not
I remember
happening.
that.
Sorry.
This is great.
All right, so let's jump right in this. Kabria, you want to start us off with your black person of the day?
Of course.
Black women too.
Black women.
Edition.
Black women
Yes.
edition.
All right, so I chose Kimberly Crenshaw.
Who that?
Ooh, who that is? That's a great question. Who is she? So she's a civil
I don't
rights
know.
activist and a legal scholar, and she coined the term intersectionality in 1989.
What does that mean?
Ooh, great question. That was going.
Oh, you was
To
going
my
there.
next
Okay.
point.
Okay, you was going there.
No,
All right.
that's just
I just
how
tried to
the
throw you the lob, you
conversation-
know.
Nah, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna take that line. You feel me?
You just threw a lob to Curry. He ain't
looking at
he ain't hitting a lob.
Wow.
He a shooter though, but he hit a lob.
But with that being said, intersectionality, it looks at different inequalities that someone can face and how that affects their privilege or their lack of privilege. And so with that being said, she looked at what it meant to be like a black woman, because not only African American, you're a woman, the challenges that come with that. She looked at class. She looked at, I want to say, able-bodiedness. And yeah, so that basically just lets people know, like, there's different levels of privilege. White privilege is one, being rich is another in this country. And she just looked into, you know, how those different inequalities can really impact people's lives. And with that being said, ooh, sorry, I had to clear my throat.
Oh, you good?
Let me clear my throat.
But
To the Beastie Boys?
I do know
Listen
that song.
to
Let me
Beastie-
clear my throat.
Kick it over here,
Okay,
baby
yeah.
pop.
All
Go
right,
ahead,
yeah. But yeah, so that's who I picked because, you know, we're talking about black women this week. And with that being said, face a lot of shit being African American, then also being a woman. Sexism,
Hey, respect.
just like racism. Both suck.
All right, so for my woman, I kept it kind of short and sweet today. So we all know about the bus boycotts, and when I say bus boycotts, who's the first person you think of?
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks. I
Martin
ain't
Luther
getting
King
off this
Jr.
seat. I just got off work.
Shoot.
But what if I told you she
What?
wasn't the first one?
Not the first.
Wasn't the first one.
Really?
Claudette
first.
Colvin, at the age
Ooh.
of 15,
Uh-huh.
was the first woman to be arrested
Wow.
for saying, no, I am not getting up.
Period.
I was here first.
She didn't say it like that.
She might not.
didn't say
Wait a
it.
minute, y'all. Did she say it just?
She might not have said it like that. She might have said something like, move, jive, turkey. I ain't moving from my seat. But
I was not expecting this, but I appreciate it.
but regardless,
No way.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Claudette Colvin for
All right,
being the first person to really initiate that bus boycott. It was
Okay.
it was in the same. It was Montgomery, Alabama,
Okay.
the same time as Rosa Parks, but for some reason her story didn't hit as hard. Because I know with for those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
it was law.
No.
Law. Black people
Uh-huh.
had to sit in the back of the bus, and if there
For
was
those who don't know.
yeah. Well, for those who choose not to listen,
Weak.
for those who choose not to
Amen.
know,
Oh, wow.
Amen.
black people were
Okay.
not allowed by the law to sit at the front of the bus. They had to sit in the back.
Yep.
And if the front ran out of seats,
Uh-huh.
a white person had to sit in the back seat. They had lawfully the rights to say, "Nigga, get up."
Get out. Yeah,
Right.
you get up.
And if you said no, they arrested you. And
Yeah.
she said no. She got arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to give a shout out to Claudette. Shout out to
Yeah.
Rosa too, but shout out to Claudette.
Right, Claudette. That's
Move.
so interesting.
I ain't moving your jive, turkey. I
I ain't
like
moving your job.
That was
I
good.
like that.
like that episode of That's So Raven when they came on. Her and
What?
what's the girl name?
Chelsea?
Her and Chelsea came on with the all black suits and the turtlenecks, talking about some jive turkeys.
Jive circus.
Some jive turkeys.
Jive.
All right, Cayman, moving on. Who you got for me
Who
today?
you got?
So I got everybody knows. You know,
Oh,
I just gotta keep
everybody
stuff.
knows.
I just gotta keep stuff
What?
in proper perspective.
Okay.
And give the people flowers that we need to give the people flowers for.
Oh.
So I picked the one, the only, Maya Angelou.
Oh.
So going back into a little bit of history,
Just a little bit.
I would just say this about Maya Angelou. She was maybe one of the first pioneers when it comes to expressing yourself in ways that they didn't see black women express themselves before. So working with Malcolm X, working with Martin Luther King, even before that, I believe it was at the age of 8, she was sexually assaulted by her mom's boyfriend.
Yep.
And
Facts.
that was something that when she wrote poems, when she sung songs, when she expressed those feelings, and that wasn't accepted. Like, you're a black woman, why are you even speaking about this?
Wow.
And she was one of the first pioneers, one of the first people to express herself in ways that white people have never seen before. Because when a black person expresses themselves, when a black person pushes the envelope, white people start getting like, whoa, this is not the norm,
buddy.
Exactly. This
What do you mean you have feelings?
Stay in your place.
What do you mean you care about
That's
your
all they say.
family?
Exactly. Stay in your place. So
What is that place?
Ooh.
exactly. That's just true. So mine's just short and sweet too. I mean, y'all can read her poems. Y'all can look at her information.
Do you have a favorite poem? We'll cut that out.
No, we're keeping it. We're keeping it.
Oh, shoot.
I wouldn't say I have a favorite poem, but every time. No, really, honestly, but every time.
I'm listening.
Why are you laughing?
It just sounds like that school project.
It sounds like what?
When you go up, and then the teacher asks you a basic question you don't know.
And then you try to finesse the answer, kind of like.
Yeah, you have a favorite poem, right? Though we're just fucking with you.
No, yeah, of course, yeah, of course, yeah. But anyway, back to my person. I just have a quote from Maya Angelou.
Okay.
I want you guys to keep near and dear to your heart.
Okay.
There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. Again, let me repeat it. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. So I feel like that's her legacy, you know? It's expressing yourself in ways creatively. And with us being young, with us being trying to build, we try to, store shit deep inside of us and not talk to anybody about it. So I feel like you have to talk about those things. If it's however way, if it's just talking to somebody, if it's creating through poetry, if it's creating through music, like whatever your passion is, if it's creating through art,
Yeah.
Maya Angelou gave us those steps to express ourselves in different elements. So that's my black person of the day.
Yeah, that's respect. Because like
I feel it.
Yeah, what I got from that poem was like
it was really intense.
it was like the power of expression. 'Cause, like if you keep things bottled up long enough, you're eventually going to explode. Like microaggressions. Like somebody, you can get tripped 5 days out of the week, and each time it might not like affect you. Like you might not feel that weight of how mad you are from like why am I getting tripped 5 days out of the week, and that 6th day you get tripped and you might swing on somebody.
Exactly.
And you're like, where did this come from?
It might not even be something that was just that big.
Yeah.
A motherfucker might crush your chips in the grocery store. The cashier might crush your chips.
Okay.
But you didn't went through so much shit in the fucking week that you just like, all right, why you crush my fucking chips?
Yeah.
Now you trying to fire up on the dude.
It might not even be the same person that crushed your chips.
Exactly.
Be like, what you mean? This is only my first time. Why you crush my chips anyway?
Exactly.
Oh.
So.
Wow.
Hey, expression.
Write
a poem.
Write a poem.
Boom. Read a book. Paint a picture. Kodak Black. Painting pictures.
I'm weak.
Ooh.
All right. So flashback to the Chiefs getting that butt spanked. Cayman and I had a conversation talking about like, can black people be racist?
Wow.
What do you think about that? Can black people be racist?
I feel like before we dive into this question, I would like to go around the table and have everyone explain their definition of racism. Because I would argue there's different forms of racism and it shows up differently. And so I think when you ask, can black people be racist, it's kind of, like a blanket statement. It's kind of like a loaded question almost. Because in America, how a lot of people understand racism, it's white against black.
Yes.
And that question, you feel me, is on that institutional, I would say, level. But there is different ways that individuals can be racist. But I would like to go around and just see.
So let's just. This is what we're gonna do first. Okay. We're gonna look up the definition of racism first.
Okay.
And then I just no, because I want the what's the Webster dictionary.
The English,
prejudice, discrimination directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group.
You looked that up pretty fucking fast.
Typically,
got that good ass.
Good Wi-Fi.
Typically,
your data.
One that is a minority or marginalized.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
keywords: minority, marginalized.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But when I think of racism, I think you have to have a certain economic power to be racist. I don't feel like, and I don't want to go deep into the question. I want to come back to you about it.
I didn't want to hear what you had to say.
No. Yeah. Well, yeah. But I want to piggyback off what you said. But
okay.
I don't feel like you can be racist without the economic power.
Mm.
And Throwback to the Chiefs game when
what happened?
I had a little.
Besides that trash ass halftime performance by the Weeknd.
No. But we were
Super Bowl.
Yeah, I had a little small party. A small get together, just a little.
Oh, okay.
I
didn't know about that, but.
Oh well.
Okay.
Well, you wouldn't have came anyway. You wouldn't have answered your
right.
phone.
Oh.
So.
You know what?
You didn't even respond to the group chat. But anyway.
Ain't lying.
Oh my gosh! Look, more messages I didn't respond to.
See? Exactly.
Okay.
But
yeah, back there.
Me and Xavier, we were partying, drinking a lot, honestly. So
wow, drinking.
But shit turned serious. Shit turned serious when somebody asked us, "Can black people be racist?"
Was this person black?
No.
Okay.
But
I'm sorry.
No, wait.
Now we building a case.
No, but look.
What?
Xavier said something that was fucking hilarious to me at the time.
What did he say?
But it made a lot of fucking sense.
Okay, I want to hear.
He said, "White people." Look, he said when I can't even say. He said when white people say shit to oppress black people. They gonna actually do it. When black people say shit, no. Look, when black people say shit about white people, they can't really do shit because we don't have any fucking power, any economic power here, anything. So how can a group be racist when we ain't even got no power to really do nothing?
Exactly, and I feel like that's a perfect segue into what I just wanted to say real quick. Like I feel like people get prejudice and like racism kind of like mixed up sometimes, and I feel like prejudice is like a thought, like. Yeah. I think this, but I might not act on it. Racism, I feel like, is that action. Like I can think like, oh, look at this nappy headed nigga right here. He think I'm about to give him a job, but I still get that motherfucker a job because I'm not gonna act on my racism because I'm prejudiced. I'm not racist. That's interesting. But that racism is like when you actually don't give that person that job because based on that.
Okay. Huh.
So yeah, what I was telling Cayman is like basically like. How's the oppressed going to oppress the oppressor? Like we don't have the backing to really have any validity about the claims that we say about white people, so to speak. Like, if like I don't even have an example.
Okay, I was about to say.
Take that out. But
I was about to say.
We go end it at that.
Okay. See, that's interesting because like my whole understanding of racism. Is just it includes prejudice and it also includes institution. Okay. And so this definition that I looked up, I thought would help like explains how I understood racism and how I learned about it in sociology. So this quote, it comes from this article. We need to talk about racism and all of its forms to understand COVID-19 disparities. And this was by Adrian Miller, Berkeley Franz, and Jamelis Henry Broderick II. And this was published back in 2020, September 25th. So in their article, they said racism can be defined as the ways in which individuals are privileged or disadvantaged overtly and covertly on a macro and micro level based on perceived biological and cultural differences between groups, most often relative to skin color. Because I feel as if when it comes to racism, people forget that there's two different forms. There's the up in the face, overt, and there's also the covert, which is
primarily what we
bias, but it comes out in a way like microaggressions. So I feel as if prejudice, even though I understand what you're saying, I feel like that's also attacking the other person or the other group, because microaggressions come out where you attack that person's character because of your perceived thoughts. And I think that Black people in a way can be racist based on that individual, like you said, the prejudice, thoughts, how they grew up, and they can be racist towards other minorities, because I don't think racism is just a black and white issue. I think people of color learn based on the society. If you look at our institutions, how much we view things through a white lens, that can make people racist, that in a way that they don't even know, and it comes out. Like if you look at the changes that happened over, I want to say the last 10 years, where like a lot of workplaces had to pass non-discriminatory laws, I guess. So like in New York, the natural hair law that they had to pass, because a lot of people were being discriminated against because of their natural hair, mainly African American stuff. And I would argue that's a form of racism that other, even Black people could have based on that institution and how they see professional hair. And so when I think of the question, I'm like in between almost. Like it's kind of like sorta, because we all grew up in American society where at the end of the day it's a racist society, like from the schools, from where you were born, from where it's, I already said that, like your education level, I guess you could say, grocery stores that's in the area. Like it's layers to this, and it's based on like laws and policies that were in place to keep certain people down, obviously, but also you have to think about what you learned in school, how you learned about white history. You didn't learn about other people of color's history. So at the end of the day, if you don't do your own research, Black people can be racist to another group based on the racist things that we were taught in school. Or at the time, like how the media kind of did the whole thing, like after 9/11. And the, what is it called? What is it?
Islamophobia?
Yes. Is it xenophobia?
Xenophobia?
Is it both?
Xenophobia? I think xenophobia is when you just don't fuck with somebody based off of like the country they're from. The country they're from, and Islamophobia is just people who are Muslim. Okay. But even after that, I feel like a lot of people of color could have just taken on like racist like ideas towards those people. And so with that being said, this question is like a hit or miss, because you also have Black people who can be racist to other Black people, like I said in the example, but also people who don't really embrace their Blackness because of the society and I guess trying to be close to whiteness. So that goes like even with, I don't know, like you've seen it, like yes, it was a survival technique, but you have seen people of color of lighter skin try to pass off as white. You feel me? The little, just like back in the day, not even that long ago, probably about our grandparents' generation, like just even like the paper bag test, like you go to a party and they'd have a little sandwich paper bag out in the front, and like if you was darker than the paper bag, you was not getting inside that party. Like we ain't going nowhere. We had to throw a kickback at the house.
So yeah, it was interesting you said Black people can be racist to Black people, because that's what the question I was going to ask you. Because you said that we grow up in this white lens. So I was going to ask you, could we? And I think that makes sense. My thing about that is, like you said, it's not a black or white thing. But let me just turn it into a black or white thing really quick in America. All right. And let me just say, I don't feel like Black people can be racist to white people. Now, that's the only people I feel like they can be racist, because you made a good point about the 9/11 thing. Because after that happened, what happened? People start looking at other minorities a different way. Yeah. What happened during World War II with the
Pearl Harbor?
Not with the Pearl Harbor, but with what they did to the Japanese people and all the camps and all that stuff they did. Black people, I'm not saying that Black people were the forefront, but white people have did some crazy shit in American history. So based off, I mean that's
3 Black people.
But I'm saying that there was probably some Black people too that are like, oh yeah, put them Japanese people in them camps. We can't trust them, you know. So I'm saying there can be racism towards other groups, but I don't feel like, just in America specifically, I'm talking about, I don't feel like a black person can be racist to a white person when the black person is at the bottom of the totem pole.
See?
I feel like they can be prejudiced towards them people, but I don't feel like they can be racist because they don't have any power. So what can you do to be racist? What can you do to be racist?
So what about when that power is like manifested in like assault or like things of that nature? Like I might not have the power to the power to like deny you a job or a loan or something like that, but what's stopping me from like acting on my prejudice in the sense of like I don't like you because you're black, or I don't like you because you're Asian, and I just go there and like beat your ass? Like, is that's still like racist in a sense? Like, I did this specifically because
of your skin,
your skin tone, or your race
and culture.
Okay, but do you really? I'm just asking this question. Okay. Do you hear? I always hear about white people in the hate crimes. I don't hear about black people in the hate crimes because black people don't do shit like that. I'm just saying.
Well, just to play devil's advocate, like
remember we learned about Mark Wahlberg. We never knew that shit about Mark Wahlberg. And how he used to treat.
He was racist and stuff.
Yes, how he used to treat black people.
Black people treated really everybody. Wild. He was really just he wasn't just calling people niggers and fucking that. He was beating their ass.
He almost had a hate crime. Did he have it?
I think he went to jail.
Yeah, wait.
He's still dropping movies like nothing happened.
Yeah,
so I don't. I've never heard. Me personally, of black people doing shit just based off because people are white.
Well, just to play devil's. I mean, okay. Oh, so we're just talking about. Just like white people. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to take that because I agree with you guys that I feel like black people can be racist towards other groups.
Yeah, and I feel like with that, I agree with you to an extent because like I feel like that even if they were to act on it, it still comes with like that power. It's like, okay, I can do this, but at the end of the day, like what's stopping them from calling the cops on me? Like the cops don't fuck with me off bat just because I'm black. So like I can do this, but I'm not gonna get away with it. Like white people, in a sense, like. They can act on it and still get away with it. So I feel like that's where like the difference comes into play. Like I might be able to act on my prejudice and like I want to do something to you because you're white, but the odds of me actually getting away with that are much more slim than a white person coming in and like doing something to a black person because they're black, because they have the police, they have the government, they have the foundation of the U.S. backing them in that.
Yeah, or let's just say, a black person has this one company. A black person has this one company and they say, we're not going to hire this one white person because they're white. You don't think that white person can get a job anywhere else? That's what I'm saying. So honestly, I mean, if there's five,
have a high chance.
That's what I'm saying. If there's 5 fucking black businesses and there's a billion fucking, I'm just saying 100. Let's just use the fucking 100. If there's 100 white businesses and there's 5 black businesses, which white businesses outnumber black businesses by I don't even know how much. So if a black person at a black company says, I'm not going to hire this white person, they have 100 other fucking opportunities to go and get another job.
Okay, so but what about for like the people who say like, isn't it racist that jobs have to reach a quota and be like they have to hire a certain amount of black people, so they're going to pass over they're going to pass over white people because they want to hire black people. It might not even be because they're more qualified, but just because they have to reach that number. What do you say to that?
See, with that, if you think about how long black people and people of color were denied the jobs, it just looks as if we're trying to even the playing field at this point, because you didn't get the job based on your credentials, based on motherfucking how well you could do the job. You got that job solely because you were white, and for so long that was a norm in American history that when people challenge that and say, hey, that's racist, people act like it's the end of the world, and then they get upset, just like in higher education, like affirmative action. Then you see minorities getting mad at other minorities because it's like, okay, black people are always prioritized, but if you look at the history in America and how many policies, practices, laws, everything created around keeping black people at a certain education level, then people would really understand why a lot of these laws are getting pushed to be made or to be passed.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Yeah.
So you could think it's like, for so long you told this person or this group, no. Everyone else is rising up. Okay, we're trying to help them rise up. And then you have people saying, no, keep them there. Because at the end of the day, like I've been saying, people understand when you're American, that comes with being racist to a certain extent. Because you have to learn to try to assimilate and fit in. And to assimilate and fit in, unfortunately, is, to me, to be low-key racist. Because you understand, in order to succeed in America, you have to be close to whiteness. And you have to be close to the capital.
Yeah, like...
Boom.
Even like... and like, I was watching one of Dr. Umar Johnson's Instagram lives, and he was talking about how Africans, when they come to the States, during checkings, they're like told like to stay away from black people because they know that like black people are targeted by the police, and like if they don't want to be sent back to their country, it's best to kind of just like avoid black people in a sense. Like, isn't that a telltale sign right there that like they're telling people incoming to the country like stay away from this specific group of people? Isn't that like an idea of how we're automatically treated here?
Though, if you think about it, they say it all the time on the news. They say it all the time.
They still try to deny it, though.
Yeah, they try to deny it. They say it all the time of how they say, well, even if they deny it, you say one thing and you look at the facts and it's a whole nother thing. You feel me? You can't say you care about Black Lives Matter when there's no policy matching what the fuck you say.
They sure do, though.
You can't say, oh, I'm pro this and that when there's no action or facts to back it up. But with that being said, you can see how America feels about black people based on, like I said, news. I mean, now I would say they're trying to put black people more on the platform, but it's like if you really did care, you'll be investing more in those communities. You'll be allowing more capital to thrive in the black community. You actually go in and have programs to teach black people how to, you feel me, make businesses, how to save, how to get housing, how to do taxes and shit like that. Because that information was so limited coming to the black community because you have to learn it, find it, figure it out, and then spread it. But then on top of that, black people, you know, working a lot, doing, I don't know, there's a lot of shit that impacts our group. But I'm saying these are all systematic things that affect black people. And so having one or two golden black people, like look at this example, they can do it, can be very disheartening. Well, not disheartening, it can be very disillusioning. Yeah. Is that, I'm pretty sure that's.
I have a theory that I want to piggyback off piggyback off what you're saying. Like, you're talking about how we kind of really have to focus on basically like the foundations of our country to kind of really get at the root of the problem.
Yeah, and Martin Luther King said that.
So the theory I want to talk about is
what's that?
This is the white supremacy flower. Okay, so when I say white supremacy flower, what do you think the theory is about?
When I think about white supremacy flower, I would think about how the roots of a certain institution or something spread into different issues. Like a flower, it starts at the root. That's all I can say.
Precisely. So the white supremacy flower, from what I remember. Okay. And if I mess it up, just let me know down in the comments below. So the white supremacy flower.
Copy a link. No.
Here, let me.
Yeah. So the time.
The flower explains how the history of the U.S. events and political influences were never intended on helping people of color.
Facts.
Or as we say nowadays, we got it's the BIPOC, Black Indigenous People of Color. So that kind of just like separates.
What is it called?
BIPOC.
Oh, okay.
BIPOC, Black Indigenous People of Color.
I'm really that's pretty dope.
So it explains how events and political influences from the foundation of the U.S. were never intended on helping people of color.
Facts.
And because of this, unearned power has generationally been passed down to the white people in this country. Knowing it or not knowing it, they still have this certain privilege that they act upon.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just want to explain how it works. So the roots of the flower, that's the things you don't see. That's the foundation. That's the slavery. That's the genocide of the natives. That's everything that happened for the white people to gain control of the land. That leads into the stem of the flower. Okay. And the stems are the laws, the inequalities set in place to kind of really further the foundation and further the power distributed to the white people. Okay. So that leads up to the petals. And so, you know, a petal for a flower, like you can take a petal off. The petals represent the actual inequalities faced by people of color. Like this would be like actual racism. This would be like Jim Crow, motherfucking race, slavery and stuff like that. You can take the petal off. The flower will still be there. That petal can actually grow back. But unless you really focus on the foundation, focus on the roots of the plant, the inequalities will always be there.
So what you're telling me is we have to
you have to, in a sense,
destroy.
In a sense, you really have to start from the ground up.
Right.
And it's really important to focus on the foundations because we live in a country where we're founded on racism.
Facts.
And if we never recognize that, if we never come to terms with that, how are we really going to expect anything to change in the first place? Like, there's still so many white people who really don't understand what white privilege really is. And like when they say, oh, I don't have white privilege, I don't do this, I don't do that. Okay, you might not do that racism, so to speak, but you still have that privilege, that benefit just from being white. And we're not even saying like give away your privilege altogether. We're just more like just recognize it, like,
and use it.
Yeah, like when you go to a job interview and you just feel like, wow, there is so many other more qualified people there, or why did I get this job? Why did this happen? I'm not saying like quit the job because you feel like another person was more deserving of that, but just recognize that part of the reason that you got that job was because of the privilege bestowed upon you for being white.
See,
it's not. We're not saying get rid of it. We're not saying hate yourself for being white.
Right.
We're just saying recognize that just because you are white, you get that power.
Wow.
I don't even like. I get to a point where I don't even understand why. Like why you don't get it. Why you don't get it. You know.
I can get it. Because I mean, like, I just imagine you're white and I grew up with a couple white people. Like one of my friends, Skylar, he's white. I'm talking like cowboy boots, khaki shorts, pickup truck with the American flag, white. But we went to elementary school together, middle school together, high school together, and he's hung around people of color his entire life. And just looking at him, you would think like a little kind of racist, but like he's really just down for the people. And it's like I could see how somebody who grew up like that and has really never projected like prejudice or racial tendencies would be like, what do you mean I'm racist? What do you mean I'm benefiting from this? Like, I don't do this. I've hung around black people my entire life. I've always treated them fairly. How they would kind of feel like attacked in a sense. Like, what do you mean? I'm not, this is not me.
I mean, I'm not throwing nobody no bait. Honestly, it's 2021. If you don't have information and you don't have knowledge about what's going on.
That ain't a bone to let them get away with it. Yeah. I'm just saying I could understand why they might feel attacked, but that is still no reason to kind of like not recognize what's going on.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get it by now, then it's like.
To everybody, I mean, y'all two at the table, is do you understand sexism?
Yeah.
Do you understand fully, like, how the idea of gender was made and how women are considered, like, second-class citizens almost in this country? So you understand.
That we benefit just from being men. Like, yeah.
How? Can you explain that?
Just like, even with pay, men get paid more for more than women just for doing the same jobs. We get treated differently. We can wear whatever clothes we want without being seen as provocative, or we can, for black women specifically against black men, like we can talk a certain way and be seen as just being like defending ourselves or just being like confident. And like a black woman, she does the same thing. It's like, what the fuck? Like, she's aggressive. She's
exactly. It's the stereotypes of what a black woman is.
Yeah.
And I feel like, okay, there's stereotypes of black men, but it's just like, I don't know why in the white people's eyes is like 100 times worse when it comes to a black woman. It's like,
because they're black and they're a woman. It's not the same thing. Like black men got the right to vote before black women. Like, black women still didn't get the right to vote until women altogether got the right to vote. They didn't get the right to vote just because they were black. They got the right to vote when they gave women the right to vote.
You know what I think? I think that white people are smart enough, because white people are smart. They be having they little covert.
Are they smart, or
conniving?
They have access to more power?
Yeah, maybe access to more power.
Yeah.
But I think that white people
not
know.
in that way. I'm not saying.
I think that white people know that a black woman's mind is literally so ahead that we have to oppress.
Look, because
when a certain group, like when you target a certain people, there's a reason you're targeting them. You're not just targeting them for no reason.
Yeah.
So when you're targeting black women specifically, I have to look at you sideways. Like, why are you guys doing that? Like, why is it such a thing with black women that's ticking y'all off? And I feel like, because I mean, especially in the last 20 years, you've seen the numbers of women graduating more than men. You've seen women getting higher educations, and we may have not seen that in the corporate world, but we know, especially with black women, that women are fucking smart.
Oh, facts.
Smarter than us.
I'm pretty stupid.
Honestly.
Facts.
So maybe they're looking at that and being like, oh yeah, we definitely have to keep these people down because they might be the death of us. They might be the death of our power.
Yeah, because I feel like the power that black women possess, like if you really take the time to kind of like do the research, it's evident. Like you can really see how much black women have done, but like on the surface, they don't get that representation. They're not at the forefront of the things that they've accomplished. Yeah. They're always in the
Serena Williams.
Yeah.
And the recognition.
Serena Williams and like the shit that she can't get away with, that really isn't even getting away with, that the male tennis players can do, and the refs aren't gonna bat an eye. Like it's pretty evident. Why is sexism a thing?
But I was gonna say, could you see just like racism as sex can? I guess women be sexist.
What sexism is just racism towards women.
I mean, yeah, but it's also institutional.
Oh yeah, facts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that.
I mean,
that was a whole nother topic.
That dates back to the foundation of the country too. Like that's just another.
You just have to go back to what they thought women were here for. So what if they think white women was here for? So what do you think they're gonna think of a black woman? They ain't gonna think they nothing because you thought your white woman was just here to give you a kid.
They were like,
honestly, and cook for you.
Thought the black woman was here to take care of that kid.
Exactly. Whoa. So going back to your point about you have to meet a certain quota at work and stuff like that, I just feel like that's the same argument I hear for why is there a BET? There's not a WET, white entertainment,
because everything's white entertainment.
Exactly, everything is white entertainment. So we have to make
everything's
wet entertainment.
We have to make avenues in order for black people to feel like, you know, like we were saying last week, what is black power? We have to give that morale boost. So
exactly, because if you keep going to say I want to be an actor, and I keep going to these roles, and they try to keep giving me these background roles or something that I really just don't want to do, or something I don't want to see myself in, and every time I go in, they just want me to play a fucking slave, or they want me to play a criminal. It's like, okay, I know people are gonna watch me. I know there's a market for what I'm trying to do. Why would I not start my own business? Like, why would I not start my own production studio? And I guess when those things start to get popular, it's like, oh, why don't you come work for us? Why don't you come work at our studio? It's like, I tried to do that, but you didn't want to give me my recognition because you want to put these white people ahead. Ooh. But now they're trying to tear down the same things that we're building because they didn't want us in the first place. Then now they want to be mad because we popping. Let me mad.